We got Dinesh D'Souza back in the house. He is best-selling author, guy on TV, conservative commentator. You know, you guys all know Dinesh, but he's got two movies out right now. We're going to talk about that, plus all the latest stuff happening in this crazy election cycle and with this open Supreme Court seat and the rest of it. Dinesh, great to have you.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Great to be on the show.
So Infidel, which I know stars Jim Caviezel, who I think has done some great work in the past. Infidel is out now. You're the producer on this one. You made this movie. Tell us about the film a little bit, and also what it's like to move from doing more political docudrama kind of stuff into a straight-up feature film.
Well, the feature film has always been the gold standard of Hollywood, and Hollywood thinks that in that department they are supreme, they are invincible. And of course, they use the feature film, Hollywood does, to promote all kinds of ideological messages. So the villains of their movies are typically the business guy or the patriarchal dad or the sheriff or the small town pastor who turns out to be a secret member of the KKK. They've got these cartoon narratives. They never confront the real world. They never confront radical Islam. And so if they do a terrorist in a Hollywood movie, he's typically some Russian guy or he's Eastern European. So I wanted to challenge them in their own domain. And so my wife, Debbie, and I came up with this idea for a movie about religious persecution that would take a Christian guy, an American, who says something politically incorrect at an international conference on religion about Jesus, about God. This is not a Christian niche movie. It's got a lot of bad language in it. It's got extreme violence. It's R-rated. The idea here is to make a mainstream movie that reflects the gritty realism of the culture.
You know, Dinesh, this has been a dream of people on the right in news media and commentary for a long time. We often talk about this. I've been trying to say to everybody, and this is why I'm working with different friends on social media platforms that will actually respect the First Amendment and becoming a part of them and work, you know, but we've always, as you've said, wanted to challenge Hollywood and its domain here because it is absurd. I mean, you pointed out, and I mean, I used to work at the CIA, so I know what the actual bad guys are usually like, and they're not weirdly German accented guys in the mid 2000s with bleached blonde hair who are running around about how they're going to take over the world, which is what they did in the movie The Sum of All Fears, for example, right? They changed it from radical Islam in the Tom Clancy novel to some form of, you know, new neo-Nazis or some different version of that. Do you have a lot of conservatives that are saying, hey, Dinesh, and I don't just mean people in the media, I mean just out there, can I help? Can I get involved? I want to work on this. I want to give you money. I mean, are people flocking to your standard here a little bit?
It's hard to do, I have to admit, and it's partly because, you know, if Michael Moore makes a film, or even Oliver Stone, they go to a Hollywood studio, they get $10 million or $20 million in their pocket, they go make the film, and the moment they've made the film, they're booked on The View, The Today Show, and on, all the media outlets are open to them. For our side, you have to have a whole bunch of different skills that really don't go together. You need the legal skill to put it together. You need to have tremendous fundraising capacity. I mean, we raised almost $20 million to make this movie. You need to have the skill to make the movie and do it in a mainstream way, and then you have to be able to market it. So all those things are not easy to put together. We think we've got a small team that has the full package, but we'll see. We're testing it out and admittedly doing it in a very difficult environment. But our film has been doing really well. And on a per screen basis, it is the second highest film in the country right now.
And Dinesh, is the goal here, and I really applaud this effort because I've been wanting to do this for a long time and been saying that, and to your point, it's, yes, there are these movies that are, you know, some of them are very nice, but it's, you know, someone who like stumbles, hits their head on a rock, and they found God, and it's rated G, and those are fine. I'm not putting, but that's not going to have the same widespread cultural impact outside of, as you said, a niche audience as a film like this that deals with the actual threat of radical Islam and what it means to confront it. So it doesn't have to be conservative films in the sense of that family-friendly fare that can be a little bit not dealing with other parts of the world that we have to. So is the goal here for you, if this continues to work, would you want to do this again, expand this out, and tell stories that will tackle these contemporary mindset, but from a a traditional and conservative perspective of just morality, good guys, bad guys, and history?
Yeah, for me, the really great conservative movies don't wear the label conservative. There are movies like Braveheart and Chariots of Fire and The Deer Hunter. Now, those are movies from a different era, so we have to make movies that are in our current era. You have to sort of surf on the wave, if you will. So my goal and my wife Debbie's is to create a virtual studio where we can do one of these movies a year. But in order to do that, we have to create a sort of financial model that is viable. We have to make sure that there is an audience for these movies, and that our types of people would like to go to these types of movies that are not, I mean, Jim Caviezel was on Shannon Bream a couple of days ago. He goes, well, this is no candy-ass Christian movie. And he's right. She was a little shocked, but I think what he was trying to say is that this is a movie that is immersed in the culture. You're going to make a movie about terrorism and radical Islam. It's got to talk and feel and sound like what that world is really like.
Speaking of Dinesh D'Souza, author, filmmaker, among many other things. Dinesh, you've also got the Trump card out, which no explanation needed as to why that's timely. But how is that doing? And do you feel like it's having the intended impact as we're in really right now this last major effort of the Trump campaign?
Well, Trump Card is new, and that is going to be available on all platforms October 9th. I decided not to release that in the theater. Some theaters are still closed. I didn't want it to be where people in some parts of the country couldn't see the movie. And so we're releasing it on Apple iTunes, on Google Play, on Dish, on Amazon Prime. So everyone will be able to see it. And I think it's the best of my movies. It's emotionally very powerful. It couldn't be more timely. It's based on my book, United States of Socialism. So socialism is the threat. I think, we look at all this radicalism of the left, burning things, harassing people in restaurants, the deep state machinations. Those are the means. But what is the goal? The goal is United States of Socialism. And I think Trump is the leader of the fight against it. And I decided to call the movie Trump Card for the simple reason that the whole election debate, the whole political debate, not just in America, but worldwide, revolves around this one man, Donald Trump.
What are you thinking for this election, Dinesh? How are we looking?
It's really hard for me to see how a ridiculous cardboard figure like Biden could make it across the finish line. I recognize there are very powerful forces that want to drag him over the finish line. And the Democrats have a big army of ventriloquists and puppeteers who put out his tweets and fill up his teleprompter and literally are trying to carry him across. But how the Democrats ended up with this preposterous candidate, is a mystery. Trump, I think, Trump doesn't have the economy that he had before COVID, but I think he has the argument that he's the only one who knows how to bring it back. And I'm looking for a big Trump win in November.
Dinesh D'Souza, everybody, go check out Infidel in theaters near you if you can. That's out right now. And also you have the Trump Card coming out. You can download and watch that one. Dinesh, where's the best place to go to watch the Trump Card?
Just go to trumpcardthemovie.com and it'll list all the platforms. You can pre-order the DVD. It's really going to be everywhere October 9th, so there'll be almost a month to watch it before the election. Infidel is now in almost 2,000 theaters, and you can just go to infidel911.com and plug in your zip code. It'll tell you where it's playing, and you can buy a ticket right there.
And Dinesh, Braveheart is my all-time favorite movie, so if you decide to make a sequel at D'Souza Studios, you let me know. I want to help, all right?
For sure.
Thanks so much, Dinesh. Good to see you. Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.